And we're back.
Oh, hi.
What's up, Cory?
How's it going, Adam?
Fantastic. I'm glad it's raining.
You like the rain, don't you? We've had many conversations about rain and mood.
Lorraine's a cool chick.
Not Lorraine. The rain.
My comedy sidekick. Broken City Podcast took a little bit of a hiatus on accident.
Kinda. Why? Tell them why.
Life, man.
Bro, life happens.
Gets in the way.
You make plans and life happens.
It's a John Lennon quote, isn't it?
Is it?
Life is what happens while you're making plans.
I didn't know that was a John Lennon quote.
I'm not sure either.
Let's just say it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it could have been John Candy. Those aren't pillows. That's his quote.
Those aren't pillows. But the rain, like you've always told me that that's your creative headspace.
Mm-hmm.
Rainy days.
I think it has to do with what the colors it brings out in the world, and then also there's a certain smell. Even like asphalt smells good in the rain.
It's true.
Like
everything looks cleaner and washed away.
Yeah, it cleans the air out because it's basically just like a shower for the sky, and then for everything else gets the dust off all the leaves, all the smog, and then the other thing is the air is just so empty and boring unless you have a microscope. But when the rain's there, look at all this stuff happening in the air. Mm-hmm. It creates just a mood. I love it. It's snowing in Julian too.
I bet.
I got to get chains for the car so we don't die again.
Yeah, man, it's been raining like crazy around here.
Last time I had to park my car like a mile away and just leave it there.
Really?
We were just like, I was sliding around, but the SUV, my mom, my wife's car. That was weird.
Oh, are you
Is that
confusing?
Freudian?
Yeah, that's weird. We'll edit that out.
I pictured my mom's SUV. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
Dang it.
Did you marry your mom?
In some sense. And I think it goes the opposite. You marry your dad.
Oh.
Character. I don't know. It's deep. You marry whatever needed to be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
You marry into somebody who has some of those traits, but in an equal power relationship as opposed to parent-child.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever injuries you have as a kid, you marry somebody where those similar issues are there, but now it's
you can work them out.
You can work them
level
out.
playing field. That makes more sense to me.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which parent. I don't think, at least for that part.
Doesn't matter which one.
Yeah, I had what was it called? Intro to Freud. It's like a small book that had big ideas in it. Just like all the bullet points.
Yeah. So now you're an expert.
And I forgot half of them. Yeah. I'm an expert on half-baked Freudian ideas.
That makes sense to me. Let's talk about the Grammys.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
With our coffee.
Oh, yeah. Cheers.
Modern Times. New sponsor for the podcast.
Yeah. Hit us up. No, Storyville. We're just trying this out.
Oh, whoops. Wrong coffee brand.
We want Storyville. So
today's the Grammys.
Today is the Grammys, but when you're hearing this, it'll be yesterday or the day before was the Grammys.
Right.
So we're not going to talk about who won or what happened, but what's up with art competitions?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's the Grammys, the Oscars, the Tony, the Danzas, whatever. Is there a Danzas?
Have you ever done, obviously not those, but have you ever taken part in a music competition with your own stuff?
Yeah. Why did you assume I wasn't in the Grammys before? Yeah, I was nominated for an LA Music Award.
Oh, yeah.
And then, all my marching arts stuff, I come from that background.
Okay.
And they call that sport of the arts.
Well, that's more of a...
It doesn't count.
But that kind of stuff almost makes more sense to have competition, doesn't it?
It does. But
there's so much theatrical stuff going on in the shows and...
Yeah. But all the same issues are at play.
You're judging art in a weird way.
You've created something that has value unto itself that from one perspective, maybe comparing it to something else that should have a value of its own, not relative to anything else, and then you're saying which one's better.
Yeah, that's where it gets squirrely.
It's like, who's better, Mariah Carey or Whitney Houston?
Depends who you ask. Just like anything else. Not to slam the Grammys or whatever right away, because it's great to anything that puts a spotlight on artists.
Slam.
You know what I'm saying? Is a good thing. But the more you think about it, the weirder it is. You know.
Yep.
We were just talking about. I've always kind of thought of the Grammys or any of those big awards shows, whether it's movies, you know, Oscars or what's the other one? What's the TV one?
The Golden Globes.
Golden Globes.
That's movies and TV.
I just always looked at it like a bunch of commercials for those movies and TV shows, because it's like a great PR thing for those when the which is.
There's a healthy amount of politics, man. I mean,
Right.
if you live in LA or you ever go to Hollywood during the time of year, it's like billboard that costs whatever, $10,000 a day or more. I don't know how much this costs, but it's probably at least that. For your consideration, they're just trying to, like, you know, for people who drive by who are on the voting board for whatever
Right.
competition it is, it just puts it in your head. There's all these this lobbying that goes on.
Sure. And then, you know, everybody has to see all the movies that are nominated.
Right.
You know, and every year there's always like people say, oh, there's always one movie that no one ever has heard of. You know, it seems like, and then everyone has to see that movie before the show, so you know what you're rooting for or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's really like a sport, right? This was my favorite movie of the year, and you want it to win. You know, and you might like one of the actors or one of the artists or something, and so you're rooting for them.
Yep.
Kind of taps into the same thing that a
And
sport
sometimes it
competition.
can be awesome for movies that maybe
Sure.
haven't gotten a lot of marketing or something, but then the right people see it or the right people produced it and they kind of shine an extra light on it. Like, I think, what's a movie that was like that? I'm not 100% sure, but I remember there was a lot of at least talk, if not a nomination, for Jennifer Aniston in that movie, The Good Girl. And that was like a pretty like indie, slightly lower budget movie. Jake Gyllenhaal was in it. And then there was like, oh, there's Oscar buzz around her performance in this movie because it's very against type back then, you know, for her,
yeah.
Friends character. That's one of my favorite dark comedies.
Is it? That's the one where she works in a grocery store?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
And then Jake Gyllenhaal is like obsessed with Catcher in the Rye, and the movie just gets darker and darker, and it's super funny. John C. Reilly's in it too. He's a pothead. But anyway, the whole concept, bringing it to like the world of the Grammys. That's why I think there's the thing, like the whole like it's just I'm just honored to be nominated. That to me, even though it's like a huge cliche, that to me is like where it should stop almost. There shouldn't be a winner.
Shouldn't be a winner, yeah.
You should just nominate.
But we
at
have
least
to. We have
you
to
could
have
maybe
it.
narrow it down. Yeah, we have to.
We
as
have to
society.
have a winner. Yeah. It would be chaos in the streets. One year the Grammys are just like, they just tell you when it starts. This year nobody wins. Everyone gets a trophy. Everybody be like, I hate the Grammys.
That's
I'm
not as
sad.
bad as like when third graders in soccer and everybody gets a trophy.
That's kind of
different. If you're picking like, here's the top 5 rock records of the year.
Well, that would mean
That would be
everybody gets a
cool.
trophy that's ever put a record out that year.
Right.
Everybody wins.
It's not that. But the other idea of there not being a winner, or maybe it should be. It'd be cool if it was a little closer to a blend of American Idol and the Grammys. So they pick 5, like the people who are members of the Grammys Association or whatever it is, which I have had a chance to join that, and it just seemed like a lot of work.
A lot of work.
And then,
Yeah.
and also this, I always had this feeling about it being the competition, art competition, being weird, but it didn't mean that there's a part of me that didn't want a Grammy. Like, you want it still, because it
sure.
means a lot of things. It's not just,
Yeah.
you're just being recognized by your peers and your whatever, and it's also, you get that attached to your name forever. So now you're a Grammy winning this or that.
Right.
But
Prefix.
yeah. Where was I going with that?
They asked you to do it one time. I actually did one, not the Grammys, but Temecula Valley Music Awards.
Yeah.
Who, my
Same
friend
thing.
Tim Moyer, started. And he was like, hey, do you want to be a judge? And at first I was like, no, I don't want to judge.
Yep.
other independent artists. Like, who am I to say who wins the thing? And he's like, oh, it's just a thing to, he kind of explained, it kind of lifts up all the local talent, and of course it's great. And then they had a ceremony, just like the LA Music Awards or Orange County Music Awards and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, dude, for sure, I'd love to, because then I get to hear all these artists, and it was fun. But there was sometimes it was like, obviously this person has a little more experience writing and recording their songs. This person's a little newer. You can kind of tell like who has more of that going on. But then sometimes it's like, well, it's just a matter of taste,
Yeah.
How am I going to say who wins this thing? So
I guess you're hitting
clinical.
on the core of it, which is where the subjectivity of art meets the objectivity of quality.
Oh, yeah.
That's where the thing is, because in a way, maybe the purest definition of what the Grammys or Oscars are trying to do is to say, all these people made subjective things. Which one is objectively the best? And it makes me think about, what Jordan Peterson talks a lot about archetypes. So you're like making this subjective work of art. It's super unique, feels really, I don't know, poignant in some way or something, like emotionally rich and artful. And then it somehow connects to some archetypal thing about life,
That everybody kind of resonates with.
that everybody resonates with, and that's the thing that wins or something. That's the thing that should win, is the thing that's like,
Right.
that's risen above and become greater than the sum of its parts. And like, I think of, when it comes to films, I think of that magic couple years in the 90s where you had Braveheart, Shawshank Redemption, Forrest Gump, Pulp Fiction, all within the same 2 years.
Were they really?
Yeah.
Whoa. Why was that?
I believe it was 93 and 94, but it could be a year off with that. And well, I have theories about what made the 90s special, but
It's a lot of things,
I'm
right?
biased, but I think it has to do with technology meeting culture.
Right. And where
Meeting.
society was at in this country or whatever at the time.
all that stuff. Politics, society, culture, and technology all coming together to this sweet spot where in order to make something great, you couldn't just cut corners in ways that you can now with, like, you could just decide if you need somebody to, like, if a bomb hits and you need somebody to fly across over there, you can just go, we'll do that in post. Whereas back then it was more like, no, we need to figure out how to get a stuntman to fly in the air.
Yeah.
You had to do it you had to do more things on camera and make it real. Whereas now you can just be like, forget it. Green
Right.
screen it.
Yeah.
So
But yet everybody notices that still.
you notice it.
Yeah. And anybody will tell you that. Like, oh, that was a great movie. There's too much CGI. You hear that all the
Right.
time. So all the Star Wars movies, like a lot of the newer ones, people
Yep.
complain because there's too much CGI. It's like you just can feel it.
Yep. And then there are people who use it within its margin of can't notice it. And you know who did that amazingly is Robert Zemeckis, who, that's Back to the Future, Forrest Gump, Contact. He's made some of the iconic movies, right? So Forrest Gump was the one, like they put him into all those black and white scenes with the president and like into Famous. All that was like technically CGI used in or Lieutenant Dan not having one leg.
Yeah, that was amazing.
That was all CGI.
I just remember when he's sitting at the whatever show next to John Lennon. Remember? And they made it seamless almost to where it was a real conversation that happened, and they just inserted Forrest Gump into it somehow.
So great.
I was like, I remember watching that going, huh? What? I'm so confused. My brain couldn't make it work.
And when I saw that too, I got it on the surface level. And then when I saw it later in life, I was like, oh, they're saying that Forrest Gump inspired the song Imagine.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
He's like,
That
Imagine
religion
this.
too?
Yeah. He's like, good idea, Forrest. Some kind of fruit company or something. Apple Computers.
Apple, yeah.
It's a good investment.
So what do you think about the competition of music reconciling that? I mean, because you're right. I mean, there is, on some level, there's an objective way to look at judging art, I guess. Just always feels so dirty.
Yeah. what aspect of it? There's so many aspects of it. That's the thing. There's, in the end, I feel like there was probably a sweet spot in the history of the Grammys too, but it seems like more and more, it seems like it's a commercial. Like you said, it's very much about, so many people need to be pleased through it. That's the political aspect. Like they're looking to create a show that people watch, right?
Sure.
And so what makes it watchable is if there are superstars, live on screen doing things. So that affects like who they get presenting and then who they have play. And then it also affects which awards get televised and which ones are done before. Right. Like just now we were online going like, let's do a little research on the Grammys before we talk about it. And it was like all these awards that have been given out before the live broadcast. Yeah. And it was like, oh, that's a lot of like the cool artists. It's like, oh, Beck won something and he doesn't get to be on TV because he's not famous enough or like broadly known. He's not Rihanna.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess. I don't know how that works.
Oh, that's how they totally do it. It's like if you win like a sound design award for some movie.
Oh, yeah.
They're not putting you on screen. You're boring and nobody's ever heard of you.
Yeah, I think there's a part of the show where they mention just they just list a bunch of people and so won this for best lighting rig and blah, blah, blah. And they just like gloss right over it really quick. Because it's not going to get ratings. There's always a section.
Like a ticker tape on the bottom.
Yeah, like you're watching CNN and it's just going, this guy.
Yeah, and then obviously the ones that most people care about end up on TV. And here's the thing. I don't know enough about this to talk about it, but that doesn't stop me from talking about it.
Why would it?
Which is the whole hullabaloo. I've never said that in a sentence before.
That's a silly word.
Yeah. Shenanigans.
Yeah.
With Ariana Grande.
Which is what?
My understanding is that a few days ago, the Grammys asked her to do something for her performance. Like she was locked in to perform. Mm-hmm. They asked her to do something for her performance that she didn't want to do, or she wanted to do something that they wouldn't let her do. I can't remember which.
Oh, wow.
And they wouldn't budge. And so she said, see ya.
Oh, so she's not doing it.
So she just said, I don't need that.
Wow.
So she's at a level where
right.
apparently artistically she's like, I'm going to choose what I want. I don't even know how artistic the choice was. It could have just been ego. I don't really know. But she just decided rather than do something I don't want to do, I'll just not be on the Grammys, which is a huge thing not to do.
Right. I wonder how many times that's happened in the past.
I know.
People have just been like, peace.
Right?
I'm out. I don't know.
But they're making a big deal out of it.
That's a mic drop move right there.
It is. And I wonder what the inside scoop is. Like, did they, her team all got together, attorneys, like, can they sue us if we do this? Mm-hmm. And then managers, what's this going to mean for your career? Mm-hmm. And in the end, it's like, oh, this pretty petite girl says, screw you Grammys. That's going to be better press than if you were on the Grammys.
Totally.
Right?
Totally. In
terms of woman empowerment and like, you can't tell me what to do, big corporation.
Right, yeah. That makes you think if it was orchestrated,
I know. Conspiracy theories.
Who knows? I don't know. But the performances are really all you're kind of watching for, right? Does anybody really care who wins best album of the year? I mean, it's
like
cool.
We used to care, kinda. Or it depends who you are or what album it is, but
there's also an element to modern day Grammys where it's like if you want to know, you can just look it up the next day. Used to be like you had to watch the show.
Yeah, you just wait till it's on YouTube and then look at.
Yeah, you can watch the whole thing later or whatever. I don't know. I wonder if that'd be an interesting question or study. Millennials, do they watch the Grammys? Is that a thing, or does
apparently the ratings are just like.
Are they really?
And there's been some funny stuff. One little thing about the Ariana Grande that I didn't want to miss putting in is that I believe she wanted to use it as a marketing campaign for her new single.
Which isn't a part of the...
Which happens all the time, right? Like you watch the Grammys and you're like, why aren't they singing the song they're getting nominated for?
Yeah.
And they're singing like the new single because it's the best promotional moment ever.
Yeah, I might as well take advantage of it. Do you remember back in the 90s again? I remember when Pearl Jam, their first album was the only thing that was out. And this was like MTV Music Awards when they used to have that.
Yeah.
And they came out and they played a song from their record that wasn't out yet. They played Animal. I think it's called Animal. But it worked because I remember going, this song's amazing. Nobody had ever heard it before.
Yep.
And that was the one song they chose to play on this award show, which obviously they were being, awarded for their previous record, their first record, which was huge. I remember going to school the next day, going to junior high, and everybody was talking about that new song that Pearl Jam played last night on the MTV Music Awards. It was awesome. I can totally remember it still.
It works. That's why people do it.
Yeah. But that wouldn't happen today.
But it's annoying to the fanboys or girls that just want the hits. Or girls or
That's how you catch yourself there.
gender neutrals.
Don't want to get in trouble.
You don't really hear a fangirl as much, do you? Anyways, I mean, what would you want to do if you were nominated, Graminated for a Nami?
If I was Graminated, what would I be Graminated for?
The song you wrote that's so great.
the pretend song that I never
But it
wrote.
came out like 10 months ago, and now you have a new song.
Yeah, you'd totally want to do the new thing, of course.
Yeah, you'd think.
But that's not the point of the Grammys. Right?
The point of the Grammys is that our friend Jules is playing drums on the opening song.
I might watch opening song.
I think it's the opening number.
Ooh, it's a number.
Who's it with again?
I'm gonna watch it this time because our friend's on it. I can't wait to see it.
Who's the artist? Latin.
He's playing with Camilla Cabella.
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
Jules Rodriguez. I
Shout
think
out
so.
to Jules.
He's playing the surdo, I think.
What's that?
Which is like I believe it's a Brazilian or at least
okay.
Afro-Cuban tom. It's like a long tom.
Long Tom.
Long tom silver.
Dong.
But it's the thing is like boom, 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 boom.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but I think there's a bunch of dudes playing it. He's one of the dudes.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a drum kit.
No,
I was talking to AJ this morning. I was like, how did he get that thing? And AJ said he thinks somebody just called him in like as a fill-in or something.
Oh.
So I'm thinking it was the main drummer. And
it was a multi-drummer
then we were
thing.
like, dude, how do you get the call to fill in for the Grammy? Like that gig.
Yeah.
And I go,
The
he
guy's
must
like,
have been
"I'm
the
busy."
first call because nobody says no to that. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, I can't do it. I can't.
Well, he's been playing with some other really huge South American artists.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it is, but it might have been like
Yeah, I don't know her name.
Game of Telephone from that gig.
Yeah.
Use this guy.
Love that though.
Rodriguez.
And Jules is the kind of guy that anybody that hears that he's doing that is like super stoked for him and like, Jules,
Yeah.
like he's the guy. He should do it.
We got to get him on the podcast.
Yeah, I love Jules.
For
So funny.
those of you out there, I had a band called Fallborn, and then I have an album called Fallborn, and Jules plays on probably 70% of that album and was in the band, and we go way back. Him and his bros, his brothers.
Yeah, I remember asking Jules what it was like to play drums in your band because you're such a great drummer, and was he ever intimidated? Because anybody else would be, I would imagine. Or if you wanted him to play a certain part, like this way or that way, and he was just so Jules about it. He was
What did
just
he say?
like, no, never even had that thought. I don't even care.
That's so funny.
I just play, just do my thing. Like,
Yep.
Cool, man. Of course.
Yep. Jules
he's
is
so great.
Jules knows who he is. And I remember, and he's such a great dude, but he also, there's like no ego to Jules about
Yeah,
stuff.
that's the thing. Yeah.
And that's why it worked so well too, because obviously like I care about what the drums are doing so much.
Right.
So if I just asked him to try this or try that, he'd just be like, cool, I'll try it. Almost to the point where I remember the more serious we got as a band, the more everybody cared and more everything.
Right.
And
About their parts. And
whenever I would do that, there was a point where his brother would start to be like, stop, like let him figure it out.
stuff. Yeah.
And it caused like a weird thing, but it was understandable. Kinda
For
like,
sure. Most musicians would be like a little, hey man, this is my thing. It's the way I do it.
Yeah.
Don't tell me how to do it. I remember asking him, and I think he also said, he's like, no, I like it. I think he said,
Yeah, he
like
said
that
he
does
liked
that
it.
because sometimes he has ideas that I don't have. And I'm like, that's the perfect example of getting your ego out of the way as a musician.
And he's serving the song and
Right. That's all he cares about is the song. And that's all anybody should care about. The parts that you're playing
And
the song. Don't worry about what you're doing or how you're doing it, or if you want someone to see what you can do.
that
You're already
attitude is
lost.
why he probably got this gig in some one way or another.
Yeah.
That's why
And
he's
the
on the
fact that he's a
Grammys.
great drummer. That helps too.
Oh yeah. But all things being equal, it's like that's what people want is somebody
Yeah.
who's there to kind of serve the music and
Totally. That's a
whoever's
lesson.
leading the charge.
That's a lesson to any musician guy out there. You know, there's a million great guitar players out there. There's a million great bass players and drummers and
Yeah.
keys and anything. It's really your attitude and the hang. The hang is whatever 80% of it. You know,
Right. 60% of the time, the hang is 80% the thing.
how many percentages? But 20% of it is 10%.
For
Of
9
your-
out of 10 of the drummers. But the thing, there is the one
I'm
time,
not
this
in
is
numbers.
not a diss on Jules, but with all that, like the most humble, like willing to try it thing. And then I made my record Murder Yesterday. And I think all but maybe 2 songs on that record, I recorded the drums with marching bass drum mallets.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So big old felt balls.
Oh, that. Okay, I know what you're talking about. I know that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the record.
Like if you listen to the song, the opening track, Reckless,
Yeah.
the drums on Reckless, I'm playing with big bass drum mallets. Like,
The whole thing.
yeah. So the hi-hats go instead of like,
Yeah.
like there's no hard tip hitting anything. So the drums sounded thicker and like all, I like just wanted that aesthetic across most of that record.
Yeah.
And I remember we did some shows and I was like, Jules, so the vibe on this record is playing with these mallets and like tuning like this. And he's like, dude,
That's a whole different instrument for a
I don't
drummer,
want to
really.
play with those things. It was kind of like the same as asking him to wear a Speedo and a helmet or something while drumming. Like he just is like,
Yeah.
that's not even what I,
That's like asking a guitar player to play with something else than the pick that they're used to or their fingers or
those
something.
Tony Levin like mallets.
Yeah. Here, this record, you need these. Just like, I don't know how to.
Yeah. Take off 3 of the strings and play
Yeah,
with these gloves on. Like,
Oh, yeah,
it's
gloves.
not even a guitar.
It's like asking a guitar player to play with gloves.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing.
Yeah, so he wasn't into that.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
But I think he tried it. To his credit, I just think he didn't want to.
Yeah.
He wasn't happy. And I was like, well, I want you happy, so we'll figure out how to get
So
that
just
same
play it wrong,
sound.
then. I want you to be happy, so play it wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, just I did
Be all
that.
passive aggressive about it. Oh, you can just play it wrong. It's fine. I don't care.
So back to the Grammys.
Yeah, we got to wrap this up soon. I got to.
Oh, yeah.
I got to get back in the rain.
Totally. So
Grammy thoughts.
it'll be interesting to, you know what's weird is I haven't really cared or watched them in a long time.
I haven't either. The only reason we're talking about it is because of our buddy that's playing on him,
Yeah, it's true.
playing on the show. Now I want to watch it.
What's funny is some of the stuff producers think of, such as Dave Grohl and Chick Corea playing together like a few years ago.
Oh,
That was the weirdest thing. I mean, I guess kind of cool. Sort of like, what does chocolate and eggs taste like? That's not too crazy. I don't know.
that's pretty disgusting.
Also, you know what we should talk about real quick
Hmm.
is we should do our own version of shameless marketing,
Okay.
which is the EP
Oh,
that
yeah.
just came out. We did a really fun songwriting retreat. Been wanting to do them for a long time out at my cabin in Julian. And so brought some friends together, Rebecca Cromie and Enoch Yang and Josh Fida and Cory Clark, one of the best people ever.
Woo, he's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Wrote some songs, kind of rooted it in a concept, and then just wrote the songs one day, recorded them the next day, finished mixing them one day and on another day, and then
Mm-hmm.
boom, done, and it's out. So it's, if you can search Broken City Songwriter Retreat
Yep, it's on iTunes and
Volume 1.
Spotify and all that stuff.
But you can search any of our names, mine or Cory's or Enoch's or Josh's or Rebecca's. And those are all songs, except for the last one, little bonus track, which is a song called Let You Win off my last record. It's featured in the new Broken City show. But it ended up being a really cool experience to like
Yeah.
cram all that into one thing,
Mm-hmm.
one few days in the mountains.
Yeah. And those limitations are good. The time restrictions
Yeah.
on writing sometimes and recording too, right?
Totally.
Because otherwise you just beat it to death. You know, it's like if you just boop, boop, boop,
I love it, man. It just makes you. It helps you just make decisions from an instinctual level.
You
just commit. It's great. And unfortunately, missed the cutoff. Otherwise, it would have been Grammy-nominated for a Nommy for sure.
Yeah, it would have been Grammy-nominated.
Yeah,
I think so.
But then we wouldn't have been able to do this podcast. We'd be at the Grammys, you know.
Yeah, who wants to do that?
Yeah,
It's raining. Too.
This is what it's about.
You don't want to be at the Grammys. It's raining.
No,
Gotta drive.
Wet red carpet. It's a good name for a band.
Wet.
It's hard to say. All right. Until next time, everybody. Sorry we've been gone for a while. We're going to be more consistent. I promise. Good night.